application. So you can follow the link, Excel Online. If you want to practice with me right now, you can use it. But if you're not having a laptop, it means you're just going to learn from the video, which we'll be sharing later on. Okay. So you can simply just click on it. When you click on Excel, it takes us to this is how the software is displayed. Okay, so to start learning Excel, we start exactly from a blank workbook. If you can see this blue highlighted icon here, it is a blank workbook. There are other templates which we could use, but for beginners, we go straight to a blank workbook to know all the details about Excel. So I'll just click on it, and it takes me to the user interface. Here, right here is the graphic user interface of Excel. So when you open any Excel worksheet, this is how it displays. Now, we are going to be learning some of these features which we are seeing right now. And if I'm a bit fast, or if anyone doesn't understand anything, you can feel free to ask me anytime. Let's clear anything out which you don't understand. So what we're going to do, instead of just going straight into that work, I want us to familiarize ourselves with these functionalities and options which we see here. So if in the long run I call something, you'll be able to identify them. So the very first thing we want to know in any Excel worksheet is, is the options which we are seeing. So if you look at this green bar at the top of our Excel worksheet, where you can see my mouse hovering, these are called the tabs. So currently I am at the Home tab. We can go to the Insert tab, the Draw tab, the Page Layout tab, Formulas, and the others. So these are called tabs. So if you are working and I say go to the Formula tab or go to the Draw tab, you simply just come here and click on it. So by default, it comes with the Home tab. Now on each tab, you have the ribbon where we see these options which are displayed. This is called the ribbon. So every tab has its own ribbon, and the ribbon comprises of operators that have functionalities related to that tab. So these operators are accumulated in groups. So each group has different operators that have similar characteristics or similar functionalities. Now, to get access to the other operators in each group, you're going to click on something. If you look on each of these groups, where my mouse is right now, you have something like wrap text. There is a small drop down arrow. It's called a launcher. So this is called a launcher. So if I tell you go to the wrap text launcher, I mean you should come to this drop down arrow, and your mouse needs to be right on top of the arrow itself for you to get access to the other operators that have the same functionalities as that wrap text itself. So if I click on this launcher, please, if I'm fast or if you don't get anything, feel free to stop me, please. If I click on this launcher right here, you see it's going to show a drop-down menu with other options. So on each of these options or groups in the ribbon, you're going to have, some of them have these launchers. You see, this is the font color. So this is the font launcher. When I click on this, it's going to give me another dialog box with other options that has other fonts which I could choose. So we have these groups because all the properties or all the operators that comes with Excel cannot be displayed on the ribbon. There are just too many of them. So they have been grouped in these small groups, and the operators are grouped that have similar characteristics in order for the user to be able to identify this. So we have learned that this is a ribbon, and on each ribbon we have groups of operators. And each group, to access the other operators, to click on the launcher. The launcher is simply this small drop down arrow key. When you click on it, it gives you a series of other options which you can access. So these are just the basics. So each tab, for example, this tab has its own ribbon with its own groups of operators, and each group has its own launcher. So that is just it, and nothing more to that. So the next thing which you're going to learn from here is when you come down, you see a box which you're seeing right here. On this box, if you see my mouse, there is a name there called C4. Now this actually is This, this actually is the name of the cell in which my mouse is currently located at. So if you look at this green part where the mouse is, that is the name of this cell. So each rectangle which we are seeing on this large spreadsheet we are seeing right now, each rectangle is called a cell. And the name of that cell is written on this box called the name box. So C4 is actually the name and of the name of the box. And C4, the name is derived from the intersection of this column, and this row. So that's why it's called C4. Are we together? So this column here, which I just clicked on, I just highlighted, is called column C. And this row is called row 4. Now, the point where column C and row 4 intersects is called a cell, and the name of that cell is simply the name of the column and the name of the row. That's why it's called C4. So that is just it. So this is C4. This is the name box. That's how we know the name box. So you can easily identify any cell from the name given on the name box. So if I just click my mouse on, if you're watching me right now, if I just click my mouse here, you see the name which is on this name box automatically changes to something called S29. So it's indicating to us that the cell in which your mouse is located at right now on your spreadsheet, the name of that cell is S29. So before we go into errors and spreadsheet, let's just talk about the next option, which is here. Now, immediately I click here, you discover something. You discover that the green tick and the X icon automatically became active. It turned red and green. So this is called the formula bar. The formula bar here is simply displaying whatever formula or whatever content is written on the cell which you are right now. For example, if I click on this cell and I enter something as maybe Nelson, that's my name, and I click outside of that cell, when I go back to the same cell, you see something displays on the formula bar called Nelson. Now, Nelson is the content of the text which is in the cell which I am on right now. So that is the formula bar. So there are many other things to the formula bar, but it is not important now. So we are going to just bypass that. So we just need to know the name and we need to know what is written in the formula bar. Okay. So now this is the main part of Excel called the spreadsheet. If you look at this arrow of black and white where my mouse is on right now, this is a box used in selecting the entire spreadsheet. And believe me, the spreadsheet is really big. There's a noise you are getting. I don't know. Okay. So this is the spread. This right here, I can use this just by clicking this. I have selected the entire spreadsheet. So everything that just turned brown now or gray is what we call the spreadsheet. As in everything you're working on the spreadsheet. So this whole thing here, everything which you see is the spreadsheet, everything included. It's called spreadsheet. Sorry. Spreadsheet. So everything which you see is a spreadsheet. Now, let me zoom in so you can actually get to zoom in. You see there is a plus sign arrow at the bottom right hand side of my screen. I just clicked on that arrow. That's why I was able to go closer to each cell. So I'll go further and further and further and further. Okay, let me delete this and delete this. So our screen now becomes virgin. It's still very, it's like brand new. Okay, so what do you want to learn here? We are going to learn a few more things here. Now, I mentioned earlier that on a spreadsheet, which is everything, by clicking on this button, we have selected the entire spreadsheet. So this is our spreadsheet. So on this spreadsheet, we have labels, different labels to help us identify cells. So this very first label, called A, is indicating the column, the column A. So if you click on A, the entire column on this spreadsheet A has been selected. Means if I go right down to the very last cell on this column, it has been selected. Now, whichever formatting I do on this column will be implemented on every one cell found on this column, right up to the very last one. Now, there are so many columns found on the spreadsheet. For example, this is column B, column C, column D. There are about 16,485 columns found. To know the number of columns found on a spreadsheet, you click on a cell. For example, I'm at A1 right now. You hold down your command key and you click on the right arrow key. If anyone has this on, Sister Esther, is your Excel working?
No, Isaac laptop has not Excel.
I showed him yesterday how to switch it on. Because honestly speaking, is easier to practice and know these things rather than just watching.
Blank.
If at least one person has it on, let's at least be sure that we are learning. We are actually.
Yes, I have it. I saw it.
Okay. Are you here with me right now?
One minute.
Okay. So are you on cell A1?
A1.
A1. Okay. So you hold down you're using Windows, right? That laptop is Windows. So you hold down Control key and the right arrow key is going to take us to the last column.
Control key and?
Control key and the right arrow key. The right arrow key. So hold Control key plus the right arrow key. I just did it. It takes me to the last column. If you're watching my screen right now, the name of this last column is the name of
went to Z.
What is your last column?
Z.
Are you sure?
Yes, Z1.
Mine is XFD1.
Z1.
Okay. Well, the last column of a spreadsheet is XFD1. It's actually the 16,485 column. So there are about 16,400. That's just to tell you how big a spreadsheet is. There are just too many columns in a spreadsheet. So to go back to the very first, to A1, you just can't, for example, you can't use your arrow key and be clicking on this to take you there. It's just too many. It might take us 3 hours to get back to the very first one. So you hold down your Control key and press the left arrow key.
Left arrow. I did it.
It takes us back to A1, right?
Okay. A1.
Good. So this labeling is called, using particular letters are called columns. So this is, for example, if I say choose column, choose column G. Sister Elizabeth.
Yes.
Column G, for example. For me to choose column E, the entire column E, I simply take my mouse. You notice something, please look keenly with my mouse. Whenever my mouse goes on top of the column label, it turns to a small black drop-down arrow. Look at it keenly, please. Let me zoom in again further. If you look at my mouse, immediately I take it on top of this D, it turns to a black drop-down arrow with white borders. Are we together?
Yes, but for me, it's not like that.
Where is your mouse on top of any column? Take your mouse on top of any column, the labeling, go to the labeling, where the color changes. Take it to maybe C, take it to C and see, it has to change.
Yes,
it has changed, right? So when you click on it, you see that entire column right up to the very last one, the color becomes gray. Okay. So this process is called selective effect. It means you select something to effect a formatting or to effect any change on it. So this is how you can select the entire column. So I can select the entire column and do something to it. It's going to affect every cell found on that column. So this is a very simple but very important technique used in formatting in Excel, and you don't find this in some other softwares in Microsoft Package. So everything which we do on each column can be done on a row also. So this is just what it is about columns. So if I say you can now select multiple columns, for example, column C, I can hold my shift key and go to column G. You see, I've selected 5 rows. I've selected 5 columns right now. So you can select these 5 columns and effect a particular change or formatting on these selected columns. So this is how you can format multiple columns or multiple cells at once. Are we together?
Yes, sir.
If there's any question at this point, please, anyone feel free to ask me, please, before we go forward. Okay. If there's no question, we are going to move into the rows. Now, just like the columns are labeled using alphabetic letters, but the rows are labeled using numbers. So this is row 1. You saw me selecting row C by clicking on the letter C. I've selected the entire row C. Now I can select row 1 by clicking on the number 1. You see, when I take my mouse on top of these number labelings, the mouse changes to a arrow pointing to the right. It changes to an arrow pointing to the right. That's how you know something different is about to happen if you click or do something. So if I click on this one, I've selected the entire row. So these are called rows and these are called columns. Please let's not forget that. It's very important, especially when you start applying formulas on spreadsheet. Okay. So now there are more than 1 million rows on the spreadsheet. About 1,048,576 rows on the spreadsheet. So to get the very last row, you click on a cell like A1, you hold your command key and you press the down arrow key. Sister Esther, please try. Let's see what you get there.
Yes. Is the 1,000. 1,000 is the last.
1 million. It's more than 1,000.
No, it's 1,000. I'm not using Excel. I don't know what this. Isaac told me. It's 1,000.
Okay, on Excel you're using is 1,048,000 something.
It is 1,000.
So I just did it here. If you look at mine, if you look at the name, if you look at the labeling, it's 1 million. Where you see my mouse right now, 1,048,576. So this is the number of rows that are found in an Excel spreadsheet. It tells us the volume of content which can be put on one sheet alone. So you can do almost any. You can write a book just on one sheet on Excel, but because of the sake of organization and ease with file management, the developers of this particular software made it in such a way that you can put only specific information on each sheet. For example, everything which we have done or seen right now is found on just one sheet. And if you look at where my mouse is right now, there's something here called sheet 1. Are we seeing it? Are we all seeing it?
Yeah.
Good. So for the sake of ease of access of data, what I can put on sheet 1 could be only a specific detail. So if tomorrow or if some months to come, I want to find a particular information, I can just come here and I look for information with a certain name which I can give to this sheet right now. For example, and if I right click on this sheet, you can try it as well. If I right click on this sheet, I'm going to have a dialog box that opens. Now on this dialog box, I'm going to rename it and call this tutorial 1. And press enter. So everything which we are going to do today, I'm going to keep it on this tutorial. Now, Instead of going and creating another Excel document on this particular tutorial which you're doing on Excel, I could simply just come on this plus arrow key, on this plus sign which we are seeing here. When I go on this plus sign, I'm seeing something different called a new sheet. If I click on this new sheet, a whole new spreadsheet appears. So if maybe tomorrow we are having the same class again, I wouldn't need to open another Excel document. All I need to do is come to the same document and go to sheet 2, and whatever we do tomorrow, I'm going to register it on sheet 2. So you right click on this and go to rename. You are seeing rename, you are seeing delete, you're seeing move or copy. There are many options. So I'll go to rename, and tomorrow if you are starting this again, I'll just come and write tutorial 2. Simple as that. You can add as many sheets as possible. So on top, on one document, you can have just so many sheets, and the accumulation of all the sheets is called a workbook. So please, if you really want to want to master Excel, you need to master some of these terminologies, because that's how you understand it when you go detail in studying Excel and all the other sophisticated operations which are found in the software. So I can simply go back to our sheet 1, which we have named as tutorial 1. So like I said, we have more than 1 million rows. So so if I wanted to effect a format, wanted to do a format on a row found on this last on a cell found on this last row, all I needed to do was to come here on this name box, choose the column which I want. Maybe my column was R. Choose the row, I choose the number, I put any amount of any amount which I really want to, but it should be less than 1,448,000 something. Immediately I click on that. See, look at where my mouse is. Here, it just takes me exactly to the cell which I want to make an effect to. So whenever you want to make an effect on a particular cell, all you need to do is come here, enter the name of that cell, and click enter. It's going to take you to that particular cell. So that is it. And now we are going to go into putting in data into our Excel. So that is it with Excel. So what we are doing now is entering data in this spreadsheet. This is our spreadsheet. What I'm manipulating right now is our spreadsheet. And what you see here, which I just clicked, is D3, and this is called a cell. So if I tell you cell I4, I'm telling you to come and click on this cell. Now, I could choose multiple cells. Multiple cells is called a range. For example, I can choose multiple cells by simply clicking my mouse and dragging it. When you click your mouse and drag it, you're going to, this is called a range. So this right now is a range. So that is it. And then another thing which you're going to learn here is going to be, okay, that's it. Entering data. Now we are just entering data into this. So I'm going to enter some sample data into this spreadsheet before we will now go into developing what we have here. Everyone has this document. So I'm going to show us how to enter data on our spreadsheet. Still, if there's any question, please, anyone feel free to ask me right now. I'm talking alone. If anyone wants to share something, please. Any question? More money, solar. Okay, no question. So what do we do? So let's continue. So now, I want us to enter a sample of, for example,
Uncle Nell.
Yes, ma'am.
God bless you, sir.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
You are doing a good job.
Thank you, ma'am.
Well done, sir. We are with you.
Okay. Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you very much. I thought you wanted to ask a question.
Not at all. Just to let you know that we are with you.
Okay, Mom. I was talking alone for a while. I wanted to hear someone talk also. Thank you.
That's why I talk now.
Okay. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Okay. So let's continue with entering data since everyone is in case with me right now. So what we're going to do is enter data. For example, the list of everyone who is here right now, and I'm going to start by showing something. Now, my mouse is on A1. I said on A1. So this my mouse is on A1. It means cell A1 has been selected. So there's a difference between your mouse being on a cell and your mouse being in a cell. So now my mouse is on A1. I'm going to show you the difference. For example, I want to write something. I'll write something, my name, Nelson. Immediately your mouse selects a cell. Anything you type in goes into that cell. Good. Now, I'm going to write something again. I've chosen cell A3 now. Notice something. Cell A3. Notice something. And I press enter. Now I've entered something on A3. But I wanted to write Elizabeth, but I spelled it wrong. So I want to correct the spelling of Elizabeth. What you normally tend to do is click the same cell which you were using. Then you want to correct the spelling. Now notice something. If I just type anything, for example, I wanted to enter I. If I just type I, I'm going to erase everything that was inside the cell and just the I to make. So I don't want to do that. So what do I need to do? I need to go into the cell and locate the particular place where I want to make a modification. So to get into the cell, you double click. I'm going to click on this. The cell has been selected. So now I'm on the cell. I don't want to type Elizabeth all the way again. So I want to type just I into that Elizabeth. So I'm going to double click. Now you're going to see that my mouse is beeping inside that cell. Now I'm in the cell. So I can now use my keys or use my mouse and go to exactly where I want to make or effect a change. And I add I. And I press enter. Are we okay on that? So when you want to make a change, when you want to make a modification, or you want to edit something, you need to go into the cell. Going into the cell, what do? You double click. So you double click into the cell. But if you are on the cell, by just selecting the cell, you are on the cell. Whatever you do, get into that cell. It erases everything that was inside and replaces it with what you're doing at the time. Are we okay? Should I repeat that? Okay, I'll repeat it. I've selected cell D, cell D3. This is cell D3. Now what I was trying to say is now I'm on this cell. Anything I do on this cell, get into the cell and replace whatever it is that was inside. Now I'm going to write something. And I press my enter key or return. I've entered cell D3. Amazing. I wanted to write amazing. What I wanted to write was amazing, but I spelled and I omitted something. Now I want to go and correct it. What do? You come and click on the cell which you want to make the correction and type amazing. But I don't want to type the whole thing again. I just want to type it on a specific place. I want to enter an A, M, and Z. But if I go in and type A, you see, I'm going to erase everything that was inside. But I don't want to erase everything that was inside. So I'm going to go back. I don't want to erase everything that was inside. So I'm going to now go into the cell. So going into the cell, double click. So now in the cell, I'm going to double click. 1, 2. When I double click, you see the mouse cursor is beeping inside the cell. Now I'm inside the cell. So I'm now going to use my arrow keys and go exactly where I want to effect the change. M and Z, I want to add A. So I add an A and I press enter. So that's how you make a change. So this is just, I wanted to know that Excel is about details. They might seem, if you're not, if you don't use details, you might spend 1 hour on Excel, which require just 10 minutes. So these are some of the few details. So that is the difference between being on a cell and being inside a cell. So that is also very, very important. So, so to delete something, for example, now I want to delete something. Immediately you are on the cell, you can just press your delete button on your keyboard. Now, when working with Excel, it's very important. It's best to work with your keyboard rather than using your mouse. When you work with your keyboard, you're going to adapt yourself with the functionality. When using your mouse, you can easily forget. You won't be fast either. So if I'm on this cell now, amazing. I want to delete whatever it is that's inside. I select the cell. Just press my delete key. And that part that was made. But if there are say for example, there are just too much information inside this cell, you might be tempted to come in here, go inside the cell, try to select everything, and then before you delete. This takes you much time. So what you simply do is select, for example, this cell, A3, and you press delete. You select A1 and press delete. So that's how you delete. Let me, I think one of us is calling us. So that's how we delete in Excel. So you don't need to go into the cell and look at everything. All you need to do is just select the cell, or you select the range. For example, there's something here also. I can select just this range and I press delete. It wipes out everything. So that's how you make it delete. Making it delete, you select the cell or the range and effect or make the formatting. So that is it. The next part which you're going to do now is entering of data into a spreadsheet. It's a very important part. Hello, Mom on the rain. Okay, I'm talking about the process again. Let me talk about it again. Okay. So someone didn't understood the delete. Talk about the deleting again. I was saying something about deleting. If I have an information on a particular cell, deleting requires you just to click that cell, choose that cell, and press your delete on your keyboard. Simple as that. Now, we might be tempted to want to go inside the cell and select everything that's inside the cell before we make our deletion, before we delete. For example, I'm going to write something here. I'm on cell B3. I'm going to write something. This is a tutorial class about Excel for beginners. Good. Okay. So I've just written something. This information is found on cell B3. I don't want you to see it seems like it is found on every cell here, but it's found on cell B3. So don't be confused about what you see here. We are going to sort that out later. Now, I want to delete what is in cell B3. There are two ways to do it. Either you get to cell B3, go inside of the cell. I just talked about being on the cell and being inside the cell. If you go inside the cell, you click 2 times. So if I click 2 times, I'm inside the cell. You can see my mouse beeping inside the cell. You might be tempted to go inside the cell and then you can write at the end, right? You can write at the end, then you start, or you want to come and highlight everything, then delete. This takes much time. So I'm just simply going to go back. I'm saying the easiest way to delete this is simply select the cell where your text or the data is found inside. You press on your keyboard the delete key. You press delete. It wipes out everything. So this is how you can delete. Now, if you want to delete something specific in that cell, I'm going to go back. To delete something specific in that cell, you can now double click and get into the cell. So I'll double click this. Okay. You can see my mouse beeping inside the cell. So what I want to delete is this class. So what I'm going to do is just this text. Either I just select it and then I press the delete key, which is a tutorial about Excel for beginners. So these are the ways to make a delete. But if you wanted to delete everything, rather than coming here, selecting this, then you go and start pressing the delete button to delete everything off. It takes much time and it's stressful. So do it this way, but it takes much time and it's stressful. So you simply just select the cell and you press your delete key. Boom. That's it. So that's how to delete. Another way to delete, if you have multiple information, for example, here I have this, here I have A, here I have me, here I have that. I want to delete everything which I'm seeing here. I don't need to come and pick this cell and press delete key. I pick this cell and press delete key. What I do is simply select everything where I want to select, make a range. I just said that a selection of multiple cells is called a range. Then I select everything and I press the delete button. On your keyboard, when you press it, everything wipes out. That's how we delete. Are we okay now? It will be easier. It is not complicated. This is just as easy as you using your phone in sending a message and deleting, in typing in your phone and deleting. It's as easy as that. You need to install the software on your laptop and start familiarizing yourself with this topic. So let's not be stressed or think that it's difficult. It is just as easy as using any software you have on your phone. So that being said, let's go in now and try to put in some reasonable data on this. So now, information, for example, the list of people that are attending this meeting right now. So what we want to do is start with maybe a heading. Now I'm going to write this. I've selected my cell A1. I'm on cell A1. I'm writing this. This is the list of all attendees to the Excel tutorial. And I press enter. This is the list of all attendees to the Excel tutorial. Now notice something. When I did this, all I simply did was press enter. This is another thing which I want you to note down. It's very important. When you press enter on your keyboard, notice what happens. The next cell downwards is being selected. Whenever you press enter, the next cell downward is being selected. I didn't select this cell A2. If you look at my name box, here is A2. I didn't manually select that cell. After I press enter, after typing this and I press enter, it went directly to cell A2. This text is on cell A1. So when you press enter, it takes you downward. Now, if you wanted to go back to the next cell, to the cell adjacent, or the cell next to, for example, B1, what I needed to do was press tab. So even now that I'm on A1, if I want to go to B, now I'm on A2. Sorry, if you look at where my mouse is hovering, I'm on A2. If I want to go to B2, I don't need to use my mouse. This is a good thing about Excel. You can actually work on an Excel on a laptop, on a computer that hasn't got no mouse or any mouse or a mouse track, a mouse pad. You can actually work using only your keyboard and do everything which you want and save the document without using your mouse. And it's really good that way because it makes you fast. It makes you understand the software and you can actually see the power and the efficiency of this software. So when you press enter, it takes you to the cell downwards. For example, if I press enter again, you see it takes me to A3. I press enter again, it takes me to A4. I press enter again, it keeps taking you down. So this is a way to maneuver your spreadsheet. Now you will also notice that to go upwards and downwards, you can use your arrow keys. If you use, I'm pressing the arrow key down now, it's taking me downwards. By pressing the up arrow key, it's taking you upward. Sister Elizabeth, please be trying as I'm talking. You're going to learn better if you're practicing rather than writing. So when you're pressing your arrow keys, now to go sideways, I press my right arrow key on my keyboard. I'm pressing my right arrow keys, it takes me sideways. So now I'm on E5. I want to go down. I don't need to use my mouse. I just press the down arrow key. It takes me down here. Okay. So you can either use this to maneuver your spreadsheet, or you use another two keys called enter and tab. So on your keyboard, there's also enter and tab. Now, enter and tab is more important because whenever you write a text inside a cell, to get out of that cell, what you do is press enter to get out of the cell. If you write a text inside a cell and press the arrow key, you won't get out of that cell. So that's the advantage of using enter and tab. So on your keyboard, there are two keys called enter and tab key. So whenever you enter a text in a cell and press enter, for example, I'm on say E4 right now and write something, yes. You see, if I press enter, it takes me directly downwards. I've gotten out of that cell, I'm on the cell, just downwards, down to that cell. So when you press enter, it takes me downward. But if I wanted to go up instead, I needed to hold shift and press enter. So if I hold shift, it does the opposite of what enter does. So when you hold shift and press enter, it takes you upwards. If you press just enter, it takes you down. Now I'm down, I'm going to enter something again, no, into that cell. Now I won't press enter here, I'm going to press tab. If I press tab, you see it takes me to the cell on the right of where I was. It takes me to the cell on the right of where I was. Pressing tab takes you to the cell on the right. Now if I wanted to go back to the left, for example, I wanted to go to D5 on this cell. What do I need to do? I hold shift and I press tab. So if I hold shift right now where I'm at F5, if I hold shift and press tab, it's going to take me to E5. Then I press it again. It takes me to D5. You can just write this down. To maneuver to the right, you press tab. To maneuver to the left, you press, you hold shift and press tab. So literally what shift does is the opposite of what tab or enter does. So you really don't need to cram this. All you need to do is just take your laptop and start doing it, start trying some of these things. You're going to learn faster and better that way. Okay, so that is how entering information, that's what we do. So I want to cancel this yes and no. What I do is I simply just select this cell and I press delete, and I've canceled everything on that cell. So let's continue. So this is the list of all attendees to the Excel programs. So that is our title of what we're about to do right now. The next thing is we want to write the header of the tables. So I'm going to start by maybe name, surname, maybe gender, maybe country, telephone number, email. That's it. Okay. Good. Now we want to enter data. We want to enter information here, depending on. Okay, I also wanted to do something. Okay, good. Now, I'm going to enter a series of data inside of this spreadsheet, and then we are going to see how we can then do editing or modify, try to see how we can modify them. That will be easier for us to learn some certain things. So start with name, or start with my name, maybe. Okay, you see what I just said? what I'm going to do now, I'm pressing the tab. Immediately I press tab, it takes me to surname. If I press enter, listen to this. If I was say immediately I write my name, if I press enter, it's going to take me downwards. But I don't want to press enter. I want to go to my surname. So that's just the importance of what I was saying. So immediately I press my tab, it takes me to surname. Now see, gender, male, country, Cameroon, telephone, email. Okay, notice this. Let me just write this at gmail.com. Okay, good. That is important. I wanted to use this to teach something. Okay, now I'm going to press enter. Immediately I press enter, it takes me to the very first cell where we started. It means I can start entering the details of the next person. Are we together here? Okay, good. I'm going to enter the name of someone. Sister Monisola. I love your name, mommy. Ola. Let me see it, all of it. All of it. I can see all of your name. Okay, let me just leave it at that. Immediately I press, oh, sorry. Monisola. Oh. Ola. Then I press tab. Monisola, I press tab. O. La. Gender, female. Country. Tab, telephone. Gmail. Then I press enter. I'm going to put other names here. Enter. Okay. Okay, I just wanted to put this random data for us to see and make some certain changes. Okay, first things first, this this is a table which I'm just creating, a list of people that are attending this meeting right now. Now, it doesn't look very attractive. It doesn't look very orderly. So we now want to edit this. First of all, starting with the title, the list of all attendees to the Excel tutorial. So what I want to do, you want to make this, it has to be captivating, it has to be the caption. So you want to do something to it. Now, I said something when we started this, I said, this text is written on one cell, and the cell which is written on this cell is cell A1. Despite the fact that it spreads across all the columns right up to column E, it doesn't mean it is found on each of those cells. The proof of that is that if I click on cell B1 and I write something, you discover that the text which was on cell A1 seems to be behind the text which is on cell B1 right now. Are we seeing something? It seems like it is behind it, and then it now came out through C1 and continues. So if I write something like stop and I press enter, you see that it has cut the link. It has stopped A from coming across B right up to C and all the rest. So that was just a proof that everything you write on this appears only because there is no text found on the adjacent column. So what was written on A1 was on A1 only. Now, how can we stop that? Because it is not good to have something as such. So I've just deleted what I wrote on B1. Immediately I deleted it. All the text that was on A1 has gone across again right up to E1. When I say E1, I mean this cell here. This is E1. So what we are going to do is select A1. Now I want A1 to be across the whole of this cell. So I want to merge all of these cells so that A1 can appear as if it was on one cell, but it's pressed across right up to G. So I'm going to click on A1. I'm on A1. Now look at this. I'm going to use I'm going to click and hold. I'm going to click and hold my mouse pad. Then I drag my selection. I drag it right up to G. Then I release. See, I've selected a portion of the row of the row 1. Now, if I go back to the home tab, see where what is shown in my ribbon right now is the review tab. So I want to go back on the home tab and select an option which is not found on the review tab right now. The option is merge. It's not found here, so I need to go and find it. So I'll click on home tab. When I click on home tab, if you look where I am right now, there's something called merge and center. This actually works in it works in merging multiple cells. It makes multiple cells become one. So whatever text is written on one cell is going to now be aligned at the center. That's why I say merge and center. Now, if I wanted to choose another option, what did I say we do? We come to this launcher here. The launcher is what? This small black arrow pointing downward. If I click on this arrow, it's going to give me other options. Merge and center, merge across, merge cells, unmerge cells. These are other options. But we're not interested in that right now. So I'm going to click on it again to wipe it. So I'll come here and I click. See what happens. Already it looks beautiful right now. So the cell exists, but it has extended right up to G. So this cell A1, you can see, if you can see on the name box, this is the name box. What is still written there is A1, but the cell goes across multiple columns right up to G as we have selected. So how did I say we make the selection? You click on the cell. For example, I want to make a selection right now. I'm going to click on cell B10. This is cell B10. There are two ways to do it. You can either use your mouse. You can either click on your mouse, click and hold, then you use the other finger to drag, or you use your mouse to drag it along. When you use it to drag along, I've selected multiple columns right now. And then I now go to merge and center. When I merge and center, it wipes out those breaking points, those breaking lines indicating, you see there's no more breaks indicating that there are multiple cells combined to one. So whatever I enter here, I enter it as if it was one cell. Excel is going to treat it as if this is one cell. So anything I enter here, you see, it starts from the center. This is a proof that it understands or interprets this selection as one cell. That's why it starts from the center. So when you do whatever it is you want to do in here, it's going to treat it as if you're working on a cell. So that is how you can select multiple cells and effect a change on it. So, okay, now I've just merged this. Now I don't want this anymore. So what I need to do, I want to unmerge it. So I want to take it back to where it was. It means I'll come back here to this merge. See, this is an option. When I click on this launcher, there is something here called unmerge cells. You see, if I click on unmerge, automatically everything goes back to how it was. So that is how you merge and unmerge. So we have just merged multiple cells. So I've just used that as an opportunity to teach us how to merge multiple cells. So this is how you actually merge cells. So I have merged this cell. I've merged these cells from A1 right up to G, right up to G1 to make one cell, and the name of the cell is A1. So we will now want to effect the change. We will now want to effect a formatting. That's what you call a formatting. We want to make a formatting on this cell. So I'm on this home tab. There are many things which I can do on this cell right now. For example, I could come here and change the background color, the field color. If you look where my mouse is right now, I can change the background color and make it maybe red. Immediately that cell becomes red. I've changed the background of that cell, it becomes red. I could choose to change the text color. You see where this A is, this is text color. It's just like Microsoft. So, and if you have used Microsoft here, you understand that most of these things which you're doing right now is not very, you'll be familiar with already. So I could come here and change the color of the text. Now my color, which is black there, maybe you don't like black, you want white. I can put white, you see? White. But I don't like this red. Red is too dangerous. So we are going to choose green. Okay. So for example, the text, the background of my text is, the background of my header is green. Then my text color is white. But I don't want this white. So you can see everything I've done is just selecting. I've just selected my mouse, just like I'm using this, just like my mouse is on this Ola right now. All I did was just click on this, and there are just millions of things which you can do just by selecting a cell. And this, what you're doing right now, is called formatting. So we are making a formatting on this cell. So I really don't want this white. I want to take it back to black. Good. So this is the list of all attendees to the Excel tutorial. Now we could make it bold by just simply clicking on this. It becomes bold. We could increase the font size to 14. You see, it makes more sense. You could change the font type by simply coming here, Times New Roman, and let's just click on this. That is even more beautiful. We could underline it. Makes more sense. Good. Okay. So that is it. This is the list of all attendees to the Excel tutorial. I don't think this background color is very attractive. So I'm just going to put it to no fill. No fill means there is no color on the background, it means it's maybe transparent. So that is it. So this is the list of what we are doing. Now, this is my header. Now you see that this name, the names of whatever we have right here is too close. It's too close to this header. So I want that there should be a space, or let's say I omitted to allow a row in between what I am doing right now, in between this header and the body of our table. So what I simply do is I come here, I click on this row. Notice what I'm doing here. I click on this row 2. I'm going to right click. You see, there are multiple options. A dialog box opens, and there's an option here called insert. Insert means inserting another row in between one row or the other. So if I click on insert, that's what happens. I've simply inserted another row in between row 1 and the existing row 2 without deleting anything. So this is how powerful Excel is. You can include rows in between existing rows with text on it without changing anything. Now you will notice something. What has happened is row 2 has become row 3 without changing anything. Row 2 has become row 3, but the only thing on row 2 is that row 2 is now empty. So I now have a space between row 2 and between row 1 and row 3, and this space will serve as maybe, just for good looks. It's the same thing which I could do. For example, this column is too close to the row. I maybe wanted a little space to occur between my row and this row A. What I need to do is include or insert a new column in between this. What do I need to do? You can see when my arrow becomes a drop down pointing downwards, You just right click, simply right click on this. The same dialog box opens and you move down to insert and look what will happen. When you click on insert, exactly, that's what happens. You see, you have an empty row just occurred between these names and this title and everything. So we now have a space in between that. Now it looks more, it looks better. Are we together? Any question? No question. So we have learned something very important here, how to include other, how to insert. It's not include, the right word is insert. How to insert a cell or a column in between columns. How to insert rows in between rows. Yeah, so that is it. So now I have written some, okay, that is it. So this is the list of all attendees to the Excel tutorial. The next thing I want to do is work on our column headers, these headers. And I want to make them significant. So now, what we did on this header here, on this is the list of all these. We can't do the same thing on all of these ones individually. Imagine we had these rows and there were like 30 of them. You wouldn't come and try to do this formatting which you did here on one row, then you do it on the other, and then do it on the other. You will succeed in doing it, but it might take you maybe 10 times the time which you will need to do if you did it the right way. So what are we going to do here? There are two ways we can do this. We can apply a formatting on this one cell alone. Then copy and paste that formatting to any other cell which pleases us. Or we could select all the cell at once, then apply the formatting. So we are going to do it the first way. The first way is applying the formatting on one, then spreading it to the other cells. Now, let's work on cell B3. This is the names. So we want the names to be, we want to apply some formatting on these names. Now, let's take, for example, we want this name, this header, to be aligned at the center. Now, it is aligned to the left. It seems more like just another name, right? So we want this text to apply at the center of this cell. So with my mouse selecting this cell, I'm going to come right up to, this is my ribbon. So I'm going to come to these options and see what I can do here. So this is the alignment. This is the alignment options. If you hover your mouse on this, you're going to see the names written on it. So I want to align it to the center. If you look at this, center text. So if I click on this, immediately the name goes to the center of the text. Now I want it to be bold. I could simply come here. This B stands for bold. I'm sure many of us are familiar with that. And I click on this, that cell becomes bold. If I wanted to change the font size, I could simply come here and increase font size by clicking on this multiple times. I could click as much as I want. You see the font size keeps increasing. It's indicated here 14. Immediately when I click on this more, it indicates, it goes to 16. You could either do it this way or you manually enter whichever font type you want. I could choose 13 and I press enter. Good. If you want to change the font type, you come down here and click this font launcher. When I click on this, it takes me down to the different types of fonts which I would want to maybe choose. And I'll come to Arial Bold. Good, you see that it changes. Let me take something that is the change is significant. Good, good. So this is what we have. So this is exactly what we have. So this is the formatting which I've done on this cell alone. Now there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 other cells which we need to do the same type of formatting. Now, coming here and clicking on surname, trying to do the same thing, going to align, going to font type and increase the font type to 13 and press enter and coming to here and selecting what we did. It's all fine, but it is going to take you just too many times. You're going to spend so much time doing it for the rest. Imagine you have this about 30 of them. So what you simply do is you select this font, you select this cell. Are we okay? So I select this cell, cell B3. How do I know it's B3? The name is shown on the name box here. I select cell B3, then there is something here called copy formatting from one location and apply it to another. So I can select the formatting which I've done on that cell. If you look, immediately I click on that formatting, the cells, there is a movement going on around the cell indicating that that cell has been highlighted. So I could just come on the next cell, I click on it, hold it, then I spread it all around. Immediately the same formatting applies to all of them. As simple as that. So I've applied the same formatting to all of them. So this is the power of Excel. So that was one way of doing it. Now let's go back. I'm going back by pressing Ctrl Z. Going back is, I just press Ctrl Z. So it's going to undo whatever it is I've been doing here. I'm going to go back. Good, right when it was this way. Good. I've undone everything which I just did, right? So you go back by pressing Ctrl Z. It's just like any other application. Go back by pressing Ctrl Z. It's actually undo. So I've undone everything which we've done, and I want to show us the other way around. So what else could I do? I could simply click on my cell B3. I hold down my shift, I hold down my arrow keys pointing to the right to select all the cells which are of interest to me. I've selected all these cells. Now I'm going to apply a formatting on these cells. I think this way is the easiest, the easier way. Why do I say so? Because you can pick different cells. Pardon? You can actually select different cells from different places. For example, I could pick this cell and I hold Control and I pick this cell, and I hold Control, I pick this cell, I hold Control, I pick this cell, and I apply a formatting on different cells. So this option of selecting an effect is more important, because what many people do is they format a cell, then copy the formatting and apply it on other cells. I think that way is the same thing, but it's longer. So it's easier to select your cell. And how do you select a cell? I just click on this, hold down my shift and arrow keys to maneuver, right? So you see, I could do whatever way it pleases me, but what I'm interested in is just the headers of these cells. So after doing that, I've selected the headers. Now I want us to do the formatting. So the first things first is aligning them to the center. So what do? I come up to my ribbon, to the alignment options, and I take center aligned. Everything goes to the center. You see, it goes simultaneously. So let's pay more attention to this one, because this is more easier by my opinion. Then now I want it to be bold, and I take bold. I want the text to be maybe italic. You can take italic. I want to change the font type. I scroll down here and whichever font type pleases you. So do not be angry by my choice of font. This is what pleases me. When you're doing yours, you can choose your own font type. Okay, I'm going to pick, let me see what David says. Good, that is it. Then now I want to reduce the font type to 11. I'm going to choose it to 11 and I click enter. Okay, I've just reduced the size a little bit. Okay, so that is it. Now, there's one other thing which I want to adjust here is if you look at where I am right now, telephone, you can see that the text is not well fitted into that cell.
That's my question. How it can be, make it big.
There are many ways to go about it. Now, what you can actually do is, you will notice something. Look at my mouse. Look keenly at my mouse. When I take my mouse up to where the column level is, you see that it changes. Let me show you again. Look at my mouse. My mouse is simply square right now with black borders. As I take it up, see, immediately it gets up to this point where there is F. It's going to change to something. It changed to a black drop-down arrow. But now, see, as I take it closer to the edge of where that line gets to G, it's going to change again. You see, it changes. So this is actually the border, the point where you can increase the size of each column. So because I want it to fit with what I've been doing here, I can just, so when it's there right now, I click on my mouse and I extend. You see that? So it immediately fits in. The next thing is this email. If you look on our email list, our emails are too long that it enters right up to H. So what we can actually do with this, the simpler way, the easier way to do it, rather than coming here and taking it up right up to, you measure it right up to this end. That is one way you could do it. Immediately I did that, you see that all those emails are now fitting directly into, that column. This is one way of doing it, but I'm going to undo what we did just now. Let me undo what we did just now. Okay, let me undo what we did. Now I want you to notice the difference. Notice something. Look at this email. Where my email ends, if you look at the border of this column, it ends, it separates column G and column H. But the text which I entered on column G is found, it extended right up to column H. It's not pleasing to the eyes. When you look at this, it's really not nice. Now, I could simply, good. Let me go back. What I could do is, there is an automated way of adjusting every text in a cell to make sure that the longest or the largest text, or even if it was an image found in a cell on a particular column, it should fit only in that column. It means there's something I can do right now on this column G where these emails are entered in such a way that the longest email, in such a way that the column is going to take the shape of the longest email. So it's going to make everything to fit into that email. Are we okay? So what do? You simply come down to column G. You select that column. I've selected that column. Every column that just turned gray right now has been selected. Every cell on this column that turned gray has been selected.